Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 89, written by user Kjatlas. Relaxing with her partner, but with a dash of tilt added into the mix. About 2 years ago, I was sitting in my living room with my partner and a good friend, shooting the breeze, talking about all sorts of things trippy and mundane, when my friend starts to tell a story about synchronicity that involved her brother. Basically, the story she was telling had to do with several people having a different memory from the presented truth. At the same time, we both yelled out, "It's like the Mandela effect," and at that moment we both got a funny look on our face and grabbed our noses. They started tingling. We both started yelling, "Whoa, what the hell?" Then the room started to tilt from my point of view, as if I was watching through a screen that just got knocked over. My partner, a major skeptic of anything that can't be explained, sat there and watched the whole thing go down in shock. My friend, whose nose tingled, said, "Did the room just tilt?" Just like that, it went away and everything returned to normal. As normal as things can get after that. I saw one post in here before that said they experienced nose tingles and what felt like their pineal gland activating when looking at checkered tile. Case notes, file number 89. So we have all sorts of hypotheses regarding the world. Purely scientific, religious, even spiritual. I tried to entertain them all. I tried to delve into those crevices of thought that most people won't go to, out of fear or pure discomfort. I don't know where my beliefs ultimately register exactly, in terms of cause for many of these glitch and paranormal encounters. I will say one thing, however. I lean towards simulation theory. It just makes sense that our reality is governed by rules, by mathematics, by a program, right? Yet that program can be bent, adjusted, morphed into whatever the controls of the server wish. And with such a control, adjusting your perspective to see a tilting room wouldn't strike me as a challenging task to accomplish. My honest question regarding this theory, though, is, are all human players active, real, connected to this virtual reality, or are some of them empty vessels? I do wonder, but that's a tangent for another day. Case file number 90, written by user Mina7s. The honesty of a child and his father who he couldn't have known. This is a family and completely true story. When my sister was 18, she decided to be independent and randomly left to Texas. She's prone to this kind of decision. When she was 21, she moved back home, married with a 2-year-old, or something like that. Nothing weird so far. When she returned, I was just leaving for college to another city and met her family briefly. She, her husband and her child, stayed with my parents while they figured things out. A month went by and suddenly her husband, 20 plus years old, died from a heart attack. Seemed like he had some genetic undiagnosed heart disease and just dropped dead. My sister was obviously devastated and basically relayed the care of her child to my mom. And she left again to another city, but visited frequently. One day, while speaking to my mom, I heard my nephew say, "There's the man." I asked my mom about this, and she said that my nephew was always talking about this man in the house that no one could see. Even when they left the house, the child would say goodbye to this man, as babies do with numerous, "Bye-bye, sir." My mother told me they sometimes saw a shadow, but nothing bad had happened, so they didn't pay any mind to it. This went on for years. The child was always talking and interacting with this man, who nobody else saw. Meanwhile, my sister was really depressed and never talked about her husband. No one really did. We didn't know the guy. Everything was so quick that we didn't interact with him, didn't have any pictures of him or anything. Nobody aside from her had any attachment to him. Also, this was like 2006. Cell phones had cameras, but not a lot of memory, so we didn't have any pictures of him. I'm stressing this point, so you see my nephew had no way of knowing his dad. Sure, he saw him until he was about 2, but now he was 6 when suddenly his father's brother decided to send an email with a photo of my sister's late husband, a photo that was saved and forgotten in the computer. The family computer had this screensaver that was a gallery of all the photos saved in the system, and that's where my nephew saw it and instantly shouted, "That's the man!" I remember it clearly because by that time we all knew the man. Nobody saw him, but if something happened in the house or there was a weird shadow, we said, "Oh, this is the man." And we all said bye to him when we left and hello when we arrived. He was already part of the family, so we went to the computer and showed the kid all the pictures there, and when the photo of his dad appeared, he was like, "That's the man who visits me at night." We were freaked out, while he was elated. For a week, he asked again and again to see the picture, and my mother decided, against my sister's wishes, to tell him that it was his father. Since then, he would talk about the man less and less until he stopped talking about him completely. Now as a teenager, my nephew doesn't remember anything. Around the time my nephew found the photo, my sister remarried and took him with her. I think he was just looking after his child, and when he had a stable life, he left. Who knows? Case notes, file number 90. Young children are so pure. They're truthful. That filter that develops, for good reasons mind you, as we grow into teenagers and adults, it's barely present at all in them. It gives us insight into the world as we once knew it, but we can barely remember that anymore. For this reason, I fully believe your nephew. He saw his father on many occasions, who, as you theorize, was lingering behind to ensure his son was safe and cared for. Dying at 20 from a heart attack is just wrong. But finding beauty in a great tragedy, well, there's a silver lining for you. What an amazing father he was. Case file number 91, written by user I'm Jellybeans. The only word of advice here, always trust your gut. It might just save someone you love. A lot of people I've met or known and asked about getting a feeling of déjà vu after something happened have told me they also get this. However, from what I know, it's a once in every few months event or on random occasions throughout their lives. This is different for me though. I experience these sort of events every few days and it freaks the hell out of me. It's usually small things like the way something is placed down or certain places I see during the day. Nothing major and nothing really that spooky, and usually it's something completely meaningless. This is where the cat comes in. Today I was in the kitchen with my dad, dog and cat in tow. I was stood making a drink whilst my dad was on his tablet. He had set some oil to heat up on the stove for us to make those little papadom things that spread out and go crispy. We had curry for dinner. My cat is an absolute pain in the butt when cooking and likes to stand near you as he thinks he's gonna get food as a result. He was sat in front of the oven, directly in my eye line, about 10 feet away. I kept glancing over as I kept thinking to myself, I should move him. I waited another minute or two before scooping him up and plopping him down on the seat next to me. No more than 30 seconds later, my dad goes into the fridge, grabs a beer, and as he's walking past the oven, he knocks the handle of the overfilled pan spewing oil onto the floor. Luckily, my dad avoided getting burned, but the oil was absolutely scalding and would have seriously harmed my cat. The strange thing is, as it happened, I got a cold feeling inside and sort of a freeze frame image that I remembered in my head. Just a single moment that seemed familiar. It's really weird and I don't like it at all. Don't ignore your gut is my advice. The world is a strange place and we don't really know much about the paranormal or crap like that. This is what personally happened to me. Case notes, file number 91. I think our instincts are attuned, perhaps connected to our subconscious. Our gut, as it were, isn't 100% accurate, but it seems far more accurate than a coin flip. Anything from the power of our subconscious picking up details, patterns that aren't made aware directly, but more through feelings and spider senses. I think it may also be possible that our brains are picking up on these signals even between parallel universes. That could explain the cold sense you had after the fact. Your underlying processing power connected to another version of yourself in another reality, where your cat was not so lucky there. Just a thought. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, and if you want to listen to more fascinating stories, there's many more on my channel. I'll see you there.